Today I'm looking at an essay paragraph and how we can make it better. So here's the question. Some people say advertising has positive economic effects. Others think it has negative social effects because it makes people feel dissatisfied with who they are and what they have. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. So we can see here there are two opinions given. One is a positive view of advertising, one is a negative. And our job is to look at both and give our own opinion. So let's now look at a paragraph, or the beginning, of a paragraph written by a candidate. However, advertising has negative impact on society. One reason is many advertisements are boring and prevent people from satisfaction of their life. So those are the first two sentences here. Now, what I can immediately see is that we have a topic sentence here. However, advertising has negative impact on society. So this is obviously the second body paragraph looking at the second opinion in the question. Now, the one thing I will comment on here is that you want to give your own opinion in the essay. And the best way to do that is to put it in your topic sentences. What we can actually say is we can say, however, I believe. So we start the topic sentence with I believe or I feel or think, which puts our opinion in there. The adverse, now adverse is a great word in English for negative. Social impacts of advertising are more significant. Okay, they are more powerful than the arguments in the positive side of advertising. So always put your own opinion in the topic sentences because it just helps you express your opinion throughout the essay. The second sentence is the argument sentence. Okay, the argument sentence here. One reason is many advertisements are boring and prevent people from satisfaction of their life. You can see there's a grammar error there. It should be in their life. The problem with this is it doesn't make any sense in English. We can't really understand the connection between a boring advertisement and preventing satisfaction in someone's life. It's not really a clear argument here. When I keep reading this paragraph, it then helps me understand what the argument means. But if you need details to explain your argument, that means your argument is not clear. And it's probably in the 5 range rather than the 6 or higher range. What this writer really means here is that one reason is that many advertisements are negative and highlight what is lacking in people's lives. So what this writer wants to say is that many advertisements focus on the bad things in people's life and what they need to buy to make their lives better. And we can see here, this is a good way to write it, yeah? Highlight what is lacking, what is missing in people's lives. Now let's take a good look at that last sentence, which is what we call the details or the explanation sentence. This is when we give our consequences, our situations, and of course our examples to what we call extend. Okay, extend our ideas. When the advertising of gym always remind people of the negatives of lossing exercise, this puts people who have little time to relax under increasing pressure, and this leads to them decreasing the sense of happiness of life and is extremely harmful. Again, this doesn't make any real sense in English. The ideas are unclear, and certainly the relationship between these different ideas doesn't make any sense. I'm going to talk a bit now about creating ideas that fit together. This is the key to getting a good score in an essay. And to do this in the planning stage, we need to take a couple of minutes to really look at our ideas and make sure they're simple, clear, and understandable. And to do that, you just make a little idea plan. And when idea plans generally follow this kind of structure. We have a situation or an example. We look at a consequence of that situation. We have an optional second consequence. You don't need to put a second one, but you can if you want. And then we want a statement at the end that matches the argument, that matches the reason I've given. So let's look at how we could plan this. In this essay, we could say something like, gyms show ads with very fit models. Models here are people in the ads. So gyms show advertisements with very fit people. Now the consequence of this is this shows people how much weight they have to lose. Another optional consequence is that this makes people, or can make people, feel depressed and unmotivated. And then I want to go back to my argument sentence and just make sure that I'm matching it. Okay? So if you look at my argument, we highlight what is lacking in people's lives. When something is lacking in your life, you don't like your life, right? So we want to match that to really show that this explanation is a perfect explanation for my argument. So let's see how we can write this in a sentence. When, for example, now I've put for example in here because we're using gyms as an example. So it's nice to put this kind of word to show the reader this is an example. So when, for example, gyms show commercials, I'm using commercials because I don't want to keep repeating advertisements, with fit-looking models, this shows viewers, that means the people watching, how much weight they have to lose, potentially causing them to feel depressed and unmotivated and decreasing their quality of life. So I put an expression here, your quality of life kind of means how happy you are with your life. And if we decrease our happiness with our life, we're saying we don't really like our current life. So that's a great example there. Nisha Huelama, great to see you. Remember, we have courses. We can help you with this kind of planning and writing of essays. We're here to help.